Feed Lux your way with the Lux Cravings boxes from Taco Bell. There's the classic $5 box, the indulgent $7 box, and a whole new obsession in the $9 box, the Flamin' Hot Grilled Cheese Burrito. Try the Lux Cravings boxes at Taco Bell today.
Hey Bronco Nation, this is Boise State football wide receiver Ben Ford. I've had to face some setbacks on the field this past season, but toughness isn't about staying down. It's about getting back up. I am proud to represent Lithia Ford of Boise, where you can find the largest selection of Ford trucks that are built tough and, like me, handle the hits and keep pushing forward. Come check out the incredible inventory and competitive pricing at Lithia Ford of Boise. And when you buy here, you're not just getting a truck, you're supporting Boise State athletics and Lithia Ford NIL partnerships. Come see us at Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho.
Find your sun with Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea. Made with real iced tea and real vodka. Cold, refreshing, and made for moments like these all year long. Let the good times cruise with Sun Cruiser.
As sports fans, we may cheer for different teams, but there's one thing that we can all agree on. We want the game to be big. And with 3 levels, 30 cabanas, a 143-foot screen, 6 clean pools, and endless cold drinks, it doesn't get any bigger or any better than Stadium Swim in Las Vegas. All sports, all seasons. It's more than a pool deck. Stadium Swim. It's the only thing like it in the world.
The final buzzer is sounded on another night of Mountain West basketball, and it's time to break down the action with Tom Moser on another night in the Mountain West, presented by Circus Sports. Headed to Las Vegas for the Mountain West tournament in March? Make sure to stay at Circa Las Vegas and watch all the action at Stadium Swim, where the sports are on 365 days a year. Another night in the Mountain West has interviews, analysis, opinions after the final Mountain West basketball game of the day wraps up. All BNN broadcasts come from the Sun Cruiser Studios. Sunny days call for Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea, made with real iced tea and real vodka. It's refreshingly smooth and easy to drink. Crack open a Sun Cruiser and let the good times cruise. The title sponsor of Bronco Nation News is Lithia Ford of Boise. Check out our full inventory of vehicles online at lithiafordboise.com. Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho. Did your team just get a big win? Suffer a bad loss? Come discuss it with us. Send us a comment or question in the ICCU YouTube chat, or leave us a voicemail at speakpipe.com/BNN. Now let's go to the Sun Cruiser Studios and join Tom Moser for another night in the Mountain West on Bronco Nation News.
What's up, everybody? You're here in the Sun Cruiser Studio on another night in the Mountain West, another day in the Mountain West here, as we've had day action all throughout. Wrapping up here, we have one half of play yet. And as they would say, we have a developing situation going on. So first, I'm Tom Moser, your host. Sun Cruiser along for the ride, as they always are. Appreciate them. Got another message today, a response to one of my tweets with a picture of the setup. I think it was Josh, a Boise fan, with his setup for tonight's game, and the Sun Cruiser in the picture. So appreciate Josh and all of you out there supporting our sponsor, just as we appreciate Sun Cruiser being here for the shows. I'm sure Josh and Boise Bronco Nation right now not enjoying what they're watching. So let me give you a rundown of what we're going to do here over the next 24-ish hours. It's Wednesday, March 11th, first round, right? I came on now. Obviously, BJ has to do his post-game show. Just so happened the way the bracket fell, Boise was a late game. If Boise wasn't the late game, would not be an issue. They are, so we're on now. And to be honest, let's be fair about this. I don't think we're offending anybody when we say this. Did not anticipate this game going down to the wire tonight, right? And it still may not. There's 15 minutes to play before we're at the wire. But we're not expecting what we saw in the first 20 minutes. So if Boise does not wake up, we could have an interesting next 45, 50 minutes in here as we kind of watch along together. I'm sure any Boise fan in here, especially Lobo fans, are probably doing their best to root for Tim Miles to get Boise out of the bracket, especially anybody else in the bottom half, a CSU fan, a San Diego State fan, clearly any San Jose State fan. And as I already mentioned, the New Mexico fans want Boise out of there, right? Now, if Boise doesn't clean up the way they play, it's not going to matter moving forward. But anyway, so tonight, I'll be off probably within a few minutes once the game goes final. So BJ and Nathan live on the scene from the Thomas and Mack can do their post-game show here on BJ's Bronco Nation News channel. Now, as far as tomorrow, regardless of the result here tonight in the late game, regardless of that result, I'm going to do 2 shows tomorrow. I'm going to do one after each session. Okay, not after each game, but after. So we'll do one after the day session. You can probably figure out why I did not do one after the day session today, because there was really only one game. So there was no need to do that. But tomorrow, with 2 games in the afternoon, the 4 top seeds in the top half, the chalk in the top half, we have the potential for 4 great games tomorrow. Now, again, I'm kind of still forecasting Boise to go through and we'll have all the chalk. May not happen, but as of now, I'll still project that, okay? So if that's the case, we have the potential for 4 really good games. Now, the odds tell you that one of them will kind of not live up to the billing, maybe even 2, who knows? But the odds will also say that we're going to get 1 or 2, hopefully 3 quarterfinal games that go right down to the wire. So for a couple reasons, we're going to come live after game 2, which is your 4-5 matchup between Grand Canyon and Nevada. So let me think of the times here. So if it starts like it did today, 3 and 5:30 on the East Coast, 12 and 2:30 and live local in Vegas. And what would that be? 1 and 4:30 out there. Geez, my time's all messed up. In the Mountain Time Zone, I guess, yeah, it would be 1 and then 3:30. So once the second game is over, I will probably come live for 30 or 40 minutes to talk about those 2 afternoon games. Then we have a little bit of a break before the 2 night games. CSU San Diego State is already booked for the early game in the night session, 9 Eastern, 7 Mountain, 6 Pacific, and then the nightcap. So if Boise would lose, there's not going to be any issue. I will go the minute that San Jose State and New Mexico goes final. If Boise wins, we're going to have to play that by ear a little bit, because again, BJ would need to come on and do his post-game show. I can probably bleed into the end of the game, the end of the game, and then go a little bit after the game. I would only have the 2 late games to talk about, not the entire card. So that kind of makes it a little bit easier. And I can have a little bit of time after the game, but don't want to deprive the Boise listeners and BJ. We don't want to do 2 shows at the same time on the same network. That doesn't really make a lot of sense. We're not ESPN here with like 8 different channels, right? Thank goodness we're not ESPN. But anyway, so we got to play that by ear and see what happens. So we're going to go here throughout the second half. I think we got about 8 minutes yet, 7 minutes until the second half starts. I'll be following the live action. I'll probably even put it on my phone here and peek to it if it stays competitive. So let's talk about that one. And I'm sure that the comments are largely going to be about that game. And yes, Matthew, they better play better in the second half. Like, look, San Jose State's played better tonight. There's no way around it. I know it sounds odd, like my tweet at halftime was that San Jose State's defense has been the best unit on the floor when they gave up 39 points. But, I mean, this is a team that's outmatched. They have no bench. We know the deal with them. They can make shots, and sometimes it's like, how are they making that? They're just throwing this stuff up. They do that all the time. It's difficult for them to sustain it for 40 minutes, but their defense is really bothering Boise. It is. Nicholas Garland going all out. Yeah, I mean, Garland, Myers, like all of the guys are. What's going on with Fielder? I don't. Let me put the stats on here. It's not just Fielder. It's look at Andrews. Let's look at what Andrews has done. He 11 minutes, 0 points. He took 1 shot, no other stats at all. No rebounds, assists, no fouls, 2 turnovers. He just looks disinterested. Nato, 2 fouls early. At least he had 2 assists, but he didn't take a shot either. Keene took 2 horrible threes. Now I know one was late shot clock, but we don't need that, right? in 12 minutes. So there's 3 guys right there with as many points as all of us have combined in here that are watching. Thankfully, Meadow and Buchanan showed up because nobody else did. Fielder, 4 points, 0 for 3 from the floor. He does have at least 4 rebounds. Look, the bottom line is the Spartan defense is aggressive. It's in the face of the Bronco players with the ball, off the ball. They're where they're supposed to be. They're active. And you could see they're flying around. They don't really want to play another game. They want to play tomorrow. Boise, I'm sure they want to play tomorrow, but do they want to do what's necessary to play tomorrow, right? Or do they just want to go through the motions against an 8-23 team and then say, all right, yeah, we'll advance? And that may still happen. They may win the game by 6 here going through the motions, but that's not setting a good template for tomorrow, because if they put this effort out there tomorrow, regardless of what they win by tonight, they will not beat New Mexico tomorrow. Right. I personally, prior to the last hour, thought they had a pretty good chance to win tomorrow against New Mexico for a variety of reasons. I'm not encouraged by what I saw in that first half. Now, a game has 2 halves. Wyoming looked, and we'll talk about this in a minute, Wyoming looked horrible in the first half today. Okay. Now, largely it was because they couldn't make a shot, but that's part of basketball, right? They looked overwhelmed by the moment. They looked not ready for the moment. They looked poor. But then in the second half, give Sundance some credit. They make some adjustments. They start attacking, and they look like a completely different team. So Boise may come out of the half here on a 10-0 run. They may win the game going away, and it'll be like, well, there's a typical San Jose State effort. Play well for a half, go away in the second half. But boys, even the last play of the half right there, they get a stop. 40 seconds left. San Jose State runs it down, misses a shot. Boise grabs a rebound. I think it was Buchanan. And I hate to blame it on Buchanan because he played well that half, but just a lack of concentration, basically dribbles the ball off his knee, uncontested, and it leads to a 3 for the Spartans. So that could be a valuable 3 points in the last 5-6 minutes of this game. And so they're just not, Andrews dribbling out of bounds, they're just mental mistakes, poor passes. What do they have turnover wise? 8 turnovers. San Jose State doesn't force turnovers, right? 8 turnovers against a team. San Jose State has to play passive defensively because they can't get in foul trouble. So you look at on the screen why I took it off, but they played 6 guys basically, right? And he can't have, Garland has 2, and that's a death sentence for them. And Ganga has 2 as well, the big guy inside. They can't get in foul trouble. So they play very passive defensively because of it. You should never turn it over 8 times. Some of those were cross-court passes, just expecting it to be there, and they weren't there. So just not a good situation. Looks like the half has started. So I'm going to put it on my phone here. And I won't spoil it because I know that the live stats here, spoiler alert, the live stats are ahead of the feed on the Mountain West Network. So I am not going to tell you what's going on there. I'm going to put it on my phone and then just kind of watch it with you guys. Wait, once I get it on here. So anyway, but credit to San Jose State, right? As I said, they want to play again. They want to play tomorrow. The season's over for them the minute that they lose here, right? It's done. They have 0 chance at anything postseason wise, and they know that. And it looks like some teams, they just mail it in, and you can tell that they don't care if their season ends, right? Arizona State today, they lose by 50 to Texas Tech with their season on the line. They obviously didn't care. They didn't have the fight. They didn't have the dig in that you need. Well, San Jose State has shown up to play, so massive credit to them. Now, I do want to hit on the other games, at least 2 of the other games. We'll keep peeking in on this one, so I'll be refreshing the stats and seeing what's going on. But if you see me look down to the corner, it's because that's what I'm checking out down there. Now, let's go to the early game, the game that started us off here, and then I'll get back to some of your comments because I know a lot came in here. Is Boise going to win? I don't know. Let's go, John. Let's go, right? I mean, this is not working out so far. All right, let's go. I know you're watching late from Indiana. Let's pound the paint. Let's attack the rim. Something. Let's do something. So indefensible if they lose tonight. There's no doubt about it, Billy. 100%. Might get to a halftime show. So early game, 8-9 game, in theory, before this one, the game that was going to be, and we had a good late one earlier, but the best game on paper of the day, and it delivered. As I said, first half wasn't great. Wyoming was not super, but they fired up a lot of threes, and they couldn't hit water from a boat, right? And so that's how you get a double-figure lead if you're UNLV. Sonny at the break obviously says, look, let's attack. Here's how you know it's a UNLV half, right? I see Andrew shooting technicals. I'm not sure if somebody got Tim Miles got teed up. Somebody has to write in the comments there what Miles did to get teed up. Very odd for Miles to get teed up when he's winning by 4 in the first minute in the second half. That seems very out of character and odd. So I need a report because I don't have the volume on of why Miles just got teed up. Anyway, you could tell like the moon must have been out at 1:00 out there in Vegas because UNLV had fouls to give at the end of the first half. Like I should go back through their box scores one day and see how many times this year they had fouls to give at the end of the first half because they never do. They're always in a double bonus. So Vern Harrison crew decided, let's just get through this first half without calling a lot of fouls, no whistles, and then we'll call them in the second half. And so that's what happened. And now part of it was the game plan too, let's be fair, because Wyoming just fired up a lot from deep and there wasn't a need to call a lot of stuff. Second half, Sundance has his guys. Walker, who I've been critical of lately, really attacked the basket, not settle for jump shots as much, put the onus on the defense to play without fouling, and UNLV struggles to do that. And as a result, we had foul. And I believe Wyoming was in the bonus, UNLV bonus, Wyoming shooting, with 15 minutes left in the game, and it was double bonus by like the 13 or 14 minute mark. And so like that just, it's not free points, but they made a fair amount of their free throws, and that's what allowed Wyoming to creep back in the game. It also just kind of like takes the flow out, takes UNLV out of rhythm. Dennis, Bennett, those guys did a really good job in the second half on Gibbs Lawhorn. I don't know that he scored much at all in the second half. Now, part of it was UNLV was content to run their offense through Kamani Hamilton, and he did have a plus matchup, I guess. I just think bottom line is they got a little lucky to win the game, not just by anything that happened at the end, right? I know there was some discussion about a couple calls. Nothing in there was overly anything, right? On anything but square. Okay, it was all fine. They got lucky to win the game because Wyoming was the more disciplined team, by far in the second half on both ends of the floor. Shot selection, defensive discipline, like rebounding the ball. Like so let me go to the stats here, and I'll just keep them up there for a minute. So 73-70 was our final. Wyoming 3 for 21 from 3. Now UNLV shot 8 for 21. So that's an average number, right? You shoot 38%, but like Hamilton shooting 7 threes, it's just too many, right? It's just too many. And they took some bad shots. Otherwise, and their propensity to foul in unnecessary situations, way off the ball, plays that have zero, like even Oglesby called it out. Like, why are you taking this foul here? Why are you so many head scratching plays by UNLV? You really didn't see a lot of that for Wyoming, right? Especially in the second half. And that's what allowed the Cowboys to creep back in and take the lead. Like they had the lead. I said this on here. I said it on the preview show. I said it on my pod. I said it everywhere that now it didn't exactly play out in the first half the way I thought, but I said, like, don't be surprised at all if Wyoming's got the lead here with 5 or 6 to go. And sure enough, 5 or 6 to go, they took the lead. It went back on a seesaw back and forth. Give Walter Brown credit. He made a couple of huge threes, and he hadn't done a lot point-wise up until that point. He had played a good floor game with some rebounds and defense. He finished with 10 boards, 9 points, 10 boards, but he made 2 huge threes in the last 5 minutes to give UNLV a lead when Wyoming kept scoring at the other end. So a great job, great finish. Again, the plays at the end here, you have the Hamilton N1, and there wasn't a lot there, right? Like there wasn't a ton of contact. It's one of those unfortunate plays. And, this is where you guys like kind of critique me because you're like, what are you talking about? But the official, there's contact there, right? There's enough contact. Now, here's what I believe. If the official knew with 100% certainty ahead of time that Hamilton makes the shot, he would not call the foul, right? He would not call the foul. But he doesn't know that, and there's a little bit of contact. And if Hamilton misses the shot and you don't call the foul, then you feel like, well, it affected the shot and I took his opportunity to score away. So it's kind of one of those goofy things, right? It's screwy. I know you guys that aren't officials and don't really, you kind of think like, what are you talking about? Trust me, like that's something. It's something. Like there's contact. If you know it's going to go, you're probably not going to call it. But you don't know that it's going to go, and you have to call it. And the ball freaking hung around and bounced around for 3 seconds after the whistle was blown, and then it falls through, and it's a 3-point play, and that's ends up being the winning margin. So it's just unfortunate. It's just basketball. It's just a basketball play, right? Now, down at the other end, I want to discuss this because there was plenty about this in there where I don't even remember who it was anymore, but Wyoming didn't have a very good possession. I think Gores, who played fantastic, by the way, fearless for a freshman, somebody took like a forced fadeaway that was an air ball. They grabbed the rebound and kind of circle back around the baseline and throw up like a short little runner that Jones tips near its peak, right near the apex. And it's deflected, and Wyoming wanted goaltending. And then after the game, they asked Sundance about it, and he said that you should call it goaltending, because you can then go and review it. If you don't call it goaltending, you can't go back and review it. And you can fix it then if you call it goaltending and it's not. And it wasn't, right? The ball was on its way up or at the very end of its ascent, right? Or at its peak. So it was not goaltending, right? But my issue comes in, and I'm not blaming Sundance for it because he's right the way the rule is laid out. And I won't stay on this too long because I know I'm in the minority with this, and some of you guys think I'm goofy with it, but this is exhibit like 45 why you need to get rid of replay. So Sundance is exactly right when he says go and call it goaltending and then go and review it. Well, you can't do that as the Spartans have. What are they up here? They're up 10. Timeout, Leon, 55-45. I think everybody advancing Boise in their bracket. That's why they play the game. So we'll have to pay a little bit more attention to this one as Myers just hit a 3. Leon calls timeout, 15 to go, 55-45. It's getting to that point here for Boise where it's going to be make it or break it in the next few minutes here. So because we all know that it's difficult to overturn a call once it's been made on the floor. So if they do call that goaltending, even if it's not, it's not like 100% guaranteed to get overturned. We saw that with the call in the pit against San Diego State 2 weeks ago when that ball was out onto net, but they didn't call it that way on the floor. They didn't overturn it, even though it was the wrong call. So you can't guarantee that they're going to make the right call and overturn it. And so you can't just make the call. And again, I'm not blaming Sundance for saying this because this is the rule, but you can't urge an official to make a call that he doesn't believe is right just because you can go and review it. It's such a ridiculous concept and rule that we have. And if there are officials that bake that into their thought process, it's absurd. And so that's why again, why you got to get rid of replay. But it wasn't goaltending. It was a proper call. UNLV makes their free throws. Wyoming doesn't even get a 3. They throw it inside the paint. I didn't understand that. They didn't have any timeouts left, but you got to at least just throw it to half court and throw up a half quarter, right? They threw it inside the 3-point line when you're down by 3. So I don't even know what the purpose of that was. But anyway, look, Gores played really well. Walker played one of his best games that he's played in a long time. As I said, I've been critical of him. Dennis and Meyer were good. For Walker, 8, 8, and 6. Only 8 points. He didn't make a lot of shots, 4 for 14, but 8 rebounds and 6 assists and only 1 turnover. I thought he played well. Gores had 15 and 5 off the bench. Meyer, 14. Dennis, 13, and 11 boards for Dennis. So good job by those guys. We'll see if they go CBI. They're not going to get any NIT. There's too many teams ahead of them in the pecking order, I think, in the conference that would get bids before them to the NIT. I don't think they're going to get a bid in the Crown either. It's possible that they play in the CBI. I do think they would take that. As a new coach, a second-year coach who hasn't been in a conference or a postseason tournament with this school, he'd like to do that. Then you got to turn your attention to who's back and who's not. I'd like to think that some of these guys will come back, but none of them would shock me if they're not, right? Like, would it shock anybody if Gores gets offers and goes elsewhere? Same thing with the rest of those guys. It is what it is in today's climate. Now, as far as UNLV goes, I will say this, right? So they showed up to play, and that's a plus sign. Looks like an and one for Fielder out of the timeout. But they showed up to play. They weren't consistent for 40 minutes, but they got the job done. They got the monkey off their back. You heard Pastner on and on about it in every interview he did after the game. We all know the stat is out there, right? Like among fans and among media and just people around the conference, that they haven't beaten anybody aside from Air Force in this tournament in a decade-ish, right? But man, that really, really seemed to be a point of emphasis for Pastner, okay? And I believe, doesn't always mean it's what's going to hold firm, but I believe that when you really focus on something like that, whenever it is, early season, mid-season, conference season, non-conf, whatever it is, right? When you really have a goal like that and focus on something and emphasize it as a program, as a player, as a coach, I think it's really difficult to then recalibrate, recharge up the next time you got to go to battle, okay? And so I think that puts UNLV, people might think I'm goofy the way I think about this stuff. I think it's going to be difficult for them to recharge up tomorrow and give an A effort against Utah State. I know they beat them twice. They do match up well with them. They have athleticism, and their interior defense tonight, I didn't mention it yet, even though I said earlier, Wyoming attacking the basket in the second half is what got them back in the game. Largely that's due to fouls. How many times in the second half did Wyoming penetrate and try to drive and dish or have an attack and get rejected or altered at the rim or something, right? Just too much length and athleticism for UNLV. They're like a 9 on that meter, right? Maybe not compared to your Big 12 and SEC schools, but for the Mountain West schools, they're a 9.5 on that meter, and Wyoming's like a 5 or 6 in terms of your freak athletes, if they're even a 5 or 6, okay? And so imposing defensively, athletic, that's one edge they have over the Aggies. We've seen that in the 2 games they played, okay? But I just think from a mental aspect, imagine the messaging, much like, and I talked about this on the show and for the last few days since we knew the matchup, that Sonny was going to play that card, nobody's giving us a chance. Look, they already have UNLV through, and we're going to freaking get them. And they almost did. They were within a minute or one play or one make or one miss the other way of getting it, okay? That's how I view it, right? You can tell that Pastner's emphasizing this. We need to get this monkey off our back. We need to beat. He talked about it, how it was like basically fate, not fate, but that things work out for different reasons. And it was okay that they lost to San Diego State because now they got to play somebody other than Air Force and they can get that monkey off their back. So imagine the euphoria in the locker room when they're celebrating. He was acting like they were going to the NCAA tournament, right? And that's great that they won this game and they're playing tomorrow. I'd like to think they'd get more fans, but on a Thursday afternoon at noon local, I don't see it. I just think that you sink that much in and you really hammer that point home, I think you're going to have a little bit less of an edge your next time out, okay? Maybe I'm wrong. We'll see. But that kind of came into my mind as I was listening to some of those quotes and just on about that from different angles about the importance of getting that monkey off the back, right? That was a little alarming to me, okay? All right, let's for a brief, and I mean brief minute here, talk about the second game there. You see the final 80-45. You also see there, to be honest with you, I didn't even watch much of this game at all. You see up there in the right-hand corner, Nevada, no points in the last 3:34. Air Force closes the game on a 9-0 run. That means it was 80-36 with about 4 to go. 80-36, 5-0 run by the Broncos as Buchanan scores it to add on to Fielder's three-point play. So back to a two-possession game, 80-36 in a conference tournament game. So I know the 5 teams leaving, Boise, Fresno, CSU, San Diego State, and Utah State, no longer have to deal with Air Force, okay? But the Mountain West, the remaining schools, the Mountain West, they have, and I've said this before, they have an Air Force basketball problem, okay? They have an Air Force problem. I went back and looked because I was curious. I found one team in the last 15 years worse than this Air Force team in the conference. I think it was 2014, 2015. San Jose State went 2-28. Both of their wins were non-D1. They were actually Division II, I believe, maybe NAIA. I didn't look, but they were non-D1 wins. They were 2-28, 0-18 in the league. They got blitzed in virtually every game. And I went to Ken Palm's archives, and there were, I think now we have 365 teams. Then tells you how many new teams we have in D1, which is another nonsense topic. But there were 351 teams 10 years ago, I guess 11 years. So 2015, 351 teams, and San Jose State was 347. So they were the 5th worst team in the country that year, Ken Palm. And so that would trump this year's Air Force team because there's 15 more teams. Air Force is about 17th, 18th, 19th worst. We'll see how it ends up shaking out once all these teams are done in their conference tournament. But it's still, this is no good. This is no good. And it's not just because the league is going to get a little bit weaker doesn't mean that it's going to get better for Air Force because they have no potential to retain players. They don't have a coach right now. I have no idea who wants to take that job on, right? So it's just an issue. And it's unfortunate, enough. As far as Nevada, can't really pick anything out of the game. The only thing is that Alford got to play a lot of guys. He didn't have to burn his guys' minutes. Camper had the most minutes with 23. Everybody else in the 14 to 19 range. So they got to walk through. Everybody's fresh. I've been saying for the last 2 months, really, that everybody wanted the top 4 seeds because of the buys. I said the 5th seed would have been fine because it was basically a glorified scrimmage. I didn't even imagine it would be this bad. Like a week ago, maybe it wasn't even a week ago, it was 5 days ago, last game of the regular season, Nevada went through the motions and beat Air Force by 13 or 14 or 15. This game was 29-4, something ridiculous like that with 5 minutes to go in the half. Air Force had 10 points at the half. They were lucky to get to 10. They were on 4 at the under 4 timeout, for crying out loud. Okay. So, nobody could have imagined it would be that bad. It's just not, I feel icky watching it. I feel gross watching it. It's like watching I don't even know. I don't want to make any comparisons, right? Love Air Force as an academy and obviously all that stuff. But as a basketball program, it's just not working, right? It's just not working. So Spartans hit a 3. They now forced a turnover, and we got 13 to go. So there's still a long way to go. It's only a 6-point game, but the Spartans are playing with confidence now. They just got a deuce to roll in the post by Ganga. So they're back up 8. And here's one of these things where, and then I'll get to the third game here, the CSU Fresno game. This is one of those things where when you get in a situation and you're the favored team, you start to get tight. And every possession is uber valuable here now, right? You almost, most guys, not every guy, everybody's wired differently, but a lot of guys, they're going to tighten up. They're afraid to take that 3. You miss 3s when you're down 8 or have bad possessions, you're up against it, right? Meanwhile, on the other side of the coin, the team that's the underdog, they have 0 to lose, the Spartans. What were they, 15-point underdogs in this game? They have 0 to lose, okay, 0 to lose. And so they're just going to go out there and let it fly. Just let it fly. freewheel. Go play. If we lose, it's fine. We played it as hard as we can. We went out fighting, and we gave it a heck of an effort. And that's all that Miles probably preached in the locker room to his 6.5 guys, right? Because that's what they're doing right now. It's a lot, as goofy as it sounds, it's a lot easier to once you get a lead. It's not easy to get the lead, but once you get the lead, that starts to tighten up around you as the favorite. I'm telling you, it does. Buchanan just made a couple free throws. He's really been carrying them. Let me go to the update. He has 21 and 8 boards, and we still have 12 minutes to go. So he's doing everything he can. And John, you should be proud of that. He just needs some help, and you got to get some stops here on the defensive end. There's a foul on a jump shot. I mean, never a good thing from 18 feet. Okay, let's get to as Taylor says, a Rams dub, and David Roddy scored his first points with the Nuggets. Great night to be a Ram. So I didn't know that Roddy was traded to the Nuggets. So that's good that he's back in town. Good for him. Scored his first point as a Nuggets. Grand Tetons, hopefully this is the last game with Leon as head coach. You think the game's over. Boise 0-10 when trailing at the half. Well, we'll see if they can break that. Matt says it won't be Leon's last game. I mean, look, they're not going to get rid of Leon. If they lose this game, it could frustrate Leon enough to leave. John still has faith in them, although that was half hour ago before the half started. Although a big double miss at the free throw line there. Yes, Matt. Yes, he is. I just said that Buchanan is giving 110%, and even maybe some extra percent from some of the other guys on his team that are not. All right, so we're going to go to the under 12 here, 60-54, San Jose State as an unforced turnover there by Boise. I'll tell you, Ewok, they just. I mean, how does Air Force score 10 points and a half? Like I don't know. I mean, what do you want me to say? Like, there's just not a lot going on there. They can't shoot the ball. I will say, I'll pat myself on the back for this, because I said early on in this on these shows here. So way back in December, one of the staples of Air Force over the last handful of years, as they've gotten, the separation has become pretty clear. Like this year, it's like this in the conference, right? Top of the league here, Air Force down here. The last few years, it's been like this. Like, they're not near the top, but they're not getting beat by 30 every night. That's because they have some guys that can shoot the ball. Hydrator a couple years ago, who was Ethan Taylor last year, and another guard. I can't remember who it was anymore. There was a good player, Petritis they had, right? They've had guys that can shoot and score, right? This year, they have no shooters. And I said that back in December, that's one reason. I don't know that I said they'll go 0-20. I think I said at the time it wouldn't surprise me if they go 0-20. I truly didn't understand the depths of how bad they were, but they didn't have guys that could make shots. And that's the equalizer in today's college basketball, the 3-point shot. You can pull an upset if you can make threes. They can't make threes. They shot 2 for 22 today. Like, you and I could go out there and shoot from 28 feet, like, get a little separation and make 2 out of 22. Okay. I'm telling you, we could, right? 2 for 22. And so, like, that's all there is to it. Sometimes it's that simple. Okay. You can give some credit to Nevada for coming out with a focused effort. They didn't want to let the Falcons hang around, and they didn't. And as a result, it's just a good team against one of the worst teams we've ever seen. So let's see. Like anything at the half. I don't know, Pat. What would I mean, I'm late for that. Boise's got to pull it off. This will be wild. Yeah, it would be wild. It'll be disappointing too, I'll be honest. Like, I think we, again, if you're a New Mexico fan in here, I totally get you rooting for San Jose State. Easier path for you. Like, you wouldn't figure San Jose State can pull this off back-to-back nights. But as I talked about today with BJ, I was on his show for a few minutes. They went 3-17 in conference this year. 2 of their wins were against Air Force. So they have 1 win. It did come against Nevada, right? They did beat Nevada in a similar situation where Nevada kind of slept-walked, right? So anyway, all right, we're Spartan ball. Let's talk about the early game tonight. CSU Fresno. I was disappointed, as I tweeted out, to see no Collins. He apparently, that's going to be it for him as they're done. Disappointing. Not too shocking what took place then without him in the lineup. Similar to San Jose State here. And so maybe the last 10 minutes will play out that way. Just no depth. Basically played 6 guys because they're also still missing Douglas was out for the year for a while, and Jack Manny, one of their big reserves, he's been out for a little bit now. So they still have pieces in Gorey, Hydrater, and Jack, but without Collins, he sets a table. We've talked about that many times. He's as valuable a player as there is in the conference, not necessarily from a point standpoint, from a production standpoint, but what he brings as leadership, handling the ball, running the offense, everything that goes along with that. Without that, it takes you down a notch. There's no other way around it. And the Rams really kind of sleptwalked through the first half, similar to what Boise did. A lot of it was just missing shots, right? They were 9 for 29. They grabbed a bunch of offensive rebounds, but they couldn't make anything. I think they made 1, maybe 2 threes. And frankly, they were lucky to be only down 5 at the half. You had to figure they would come out and make some shots, and luckily they got that from Butler. Let me put the numbers up here. Put the numbers up. All right, so Garland just knocked one in, so the Spartans are up 8, 11 and a half to go. Okay, so 67-63. Rams only shoot 39%. They shoot 10 for 30 from 3. They only turn it over 9 times. They do get 18 assists on 23 makes, so that's pretty efficient, right? You'll take that. From an individual standpoint, like I said, it was Butler. Butler was the one who kind of won the game for him tonight. He finished with 20. It was a lot of threes, but he also had 9 rebounds, right? Booth had 18 and 6 boards. Pasquarelli came back, and I'm pretty sure, look, Ali knows that to win this 4 in 4 days, he's going to need Pasquarelli. And he used Pasquarelli tonight. What did he get? 11 minutes. Didn't really do much. He made a 3 at 5 points. That was a game to get your feet wet and be ready for tomorrow, right? They're going to be an underdog against San Diego State. You need your full roster, although granted, they did beat the Aztecs without Pasquarelli a couple weeks ago. But still, you're going to need your full allotment of players to get through the gauntlet that they're going to have to get through in the next 3 days if they want to win the automatic bid, right? And so they try to get Pasquarelli in. Remember, Ali tried to do this 3 months ago against Denver with Bemba, and it backfired. There's really no other choice for Ali, though. It's not like he had another option. You have to try him. Bucket for Boise, 10 to go. And they're down 6. Andrews finally gets on the board. The time is ticking away here for Boise, and they can't really be trading buckets anymore here, right? And with the Spartans' ability to fire shots in at any point, whether it's Washington or Myers or Garland, it's time for Boise to go stop, score, stop, score, stop. 3 stops in a row. And they just gave up a dunk. So, they're on serious alert here with 9:40 to go, down by 8. But CSU, like I said, Muniz set the table a lot tonight. He had 7 assists, didn't shoot it well, but 7 assists. The scouting report on Muniz should be pretty simple, right? If when you're guarding Muniz, missed 3 by Andrews. So when you're guarding Muniz, you simply can't help off of another guy and go and try and double or attack Jev with a second guy, because he sees over the defender. 9 out of 10 guys that are guarding him. He's got great court vision, and he will find the open guy. Okay. If you just guard him solo, that's when he resorts to trying to back people down and play one-on-one, maybe force a shot, and he becomes less effective. So, I didn't want to spoil that secret, but it's that the game played out that way tonight. Fresno finally did that a little bit. Buchanan draws another foul, but they're down 11. And I would venture to guess right now that I think for the first time now, I actually would favor San Jose State to win this game. I think that last 3 right there from Ganga, probably I would favor San Jose State to win the game right now. So this is stunning. There's still 8:45 to go. Buchanan shooting 2, but down 11. Not a situation you want to be in if you're Boise. And wouldn't it be ironic? You start your season with a disastrous loss to a D2 school, and you finish your season with a disastrous loss to a 3-17 team that basically has 6 guys. I guess it's possible that they could get a bid in a tournament, but this isn't going to help that cause. I'll tell you that right now. So they got 8.5 minutes to kind of buck up and fix it, or it's going to be a very long plane ride home from Vegas tomorrow morning, I guess, or who knows when they would even fly home. Okay. Anyway, so for Fresno, Hydrater played really well tonight. He had 26. Gorey did nothing in the first half, but then he's so elite with his runner. He's got good body control. He finished with 12 and 10, all of his points in the first half. And it's disappointing because, like, I can't help but figure that that's his last game in a Fresno uniform, right? So it just the way it is, right? Like, I would be surprised if he is back there. They can't pay him an NIL what somebody from another conference is going to pay him. That's all there is to it. And so they were improved this year, far leaps and bounds from what they were last year. Okay. With Hydrater, the games that Collins played, and the freshmen Gorey and Jack, they really, really had a nice season. The problem is the teams ahead of them are just better than them, right? And as a result, they can only get to 7 conference wins. So, good season by Wahlberg. We'll see what happens as they transition into the new pack. I would assume Wahlberg will be there. He's going to have to retool his roster. Hydrater and Collins are out of eligibility unless we, just allow unlimited eligibility anymore. So the Spartans are now up 14 with 7.5 to go. We'll see if Leon calls a timeout here, but this has gone from bad to worse. And so it looks like we're not going to have to worry about that issue tomorrow night here on the broadcast, unfortunately. Very disappointing for Boise tonight. There's no way around it. Meadow with a much-needed 3, and he misses it. Okay. So he's going to have to retool the roster. He did it this year. He got a nice group of guys in. They need to find some NIL. That's the bottom line, okay? It doesn't matter who the coach is. That's the name of the game today. You've seen it from other schools and other programs. They talk about maybe not paying their coach as much, and they're going to resort to using some of their funds to NIL because it's all about the players, right? And so it's wild that that's the conversation that we're having in 2026, but that's where we are. That's where we are. That might be a situation here. I'm not telling Wahlberg to take a pay cut, but like you got to kind of divert some of these funds to NIL so you can get a roster in there, okay? Even if it's just for 1 year, right? Like he got Gorey for 1 year. Maybe Jack is back. Maybe he's gone. We'll have no idea, right? So, that's kind of where that is. All right, let me, as we get to the under 8 timeout here with 6:40 to go, Broncos in serious trouble. Let me cycle through some of these comments here. Yeah, Jazz, it certainly is trending to be Lobos and Spartans, and that was a half hour ago. It's only gotten worse since then. That's becoming more in focus. Ganga destroying folks in the paint. Yeah, Boise fans certainly hate to see it. There's no doubt about that. Oh, yeah. Well, John, your son is going to have a double-double. The problem is, like, the Spartans are hitting, and nobody else is really defending much for Boise. No, I don't know what you mean, Matt. No, it's not a halftime show. We're doing the show in the second half. Matt, I hate to tell you, if you don't care about my schedule, you can go watch the game. I don't know what your problem is here. I'm sorry your team's losing, but this is what we're doing. Yeah, Javen is playing lights out. John, you should be proud. He just needs some help. Okay. Okay. Yeah, well, the wheels are about to fall off. I hate to say it. We'll see what transpires here in the last 7 minutes, but time's getting away. There's limited possessions left. Like, you need to play perfect basketball from this point on. Okay. The Spartans have good free throw shooters. I wouldn't say they're great free throw shooters, but they have good free throw shooters. And when you're protecting a lead, you can milk the clock, and that shortens the game. So I would be surprised if San Jose State takes early shots here. Okay, the last 6.5 minutes. I don't know whose arrow it is. I don't know whose arrow it is coming out of the timeout, but I would be surprised if the Spartans are shooting before there's 10 seconds to go on a shot clock. If you just bleed the clock down, it shortens the game, and you're forcing Boise to score on 80% of their possessions. I mean, the math just doesn't work here, barring a complete collapse. So you're really up against it. Yeah, Boise Rail fan, you're going to drown your sorrows to forget about the season in liquor. Nick, I know as a Lobo fan, you're rooting against Boise. Does Boise have a little UNLV in them? Well, I don't know what they have in them right now, Sean, but it's not what they need to have in them, let's just say. Yeah, no doubt, Pac fan. Fresno, they ran out of gas. Hydrator did. Maybe Gorey, the other guys too. They ran out of gas. All right, let's. It was Spartan ball out of the timeout, and 6 on the shot clock, and they get a lay-in. So yeah, this has gone from bad to worse. Andrew's one of the biggest disappointments in Boise State history. I mean, I don't know how. Recent history, yes, as a when you only bring in 2 transfers, right, and they're both from Georgetown, like not Power 4, but from a Big East school, and your other one's a Power 4 school with Andrews from the Big Ten in UCLA, you expect him to be better than he was. There's no doubt about it. At halftime, he had 0 points. He's now got 4 points and 2 turnovers in 22 minutes, 1 for 4 from the floor, and he made those 2 technicals. So he has not, it just hasn't been he had one fantastic week where he was player of the week, and it looked like he was turning a corner, and it just hasn't happened since then, right? It hasn't worked out. And Nato is a freshman. He's inexperienced. He's not consistent enough. And, that's why you are where you are. It's unfortunate. Keep feeding Meadows and Buchanan. Here we go with the Spartans dribbling the ball and bleeding clock. Luck is on the Spartan side. Let's see. A lot of these were earlier. Good things happen when Peanut attacks the rim. They had it to 3. Yeah, you got to find the magic that Wyoming used to hold Gibbs Lawhorn scoreless in the second half. Agree there. Looks like we have a foul late in the shot clock. Okay. Yeah, Pac fan agrees with what I said about the end of the foul at the end of the Wyoming UNLV game. Just one of those things that happens. Thank you, Pizza. Replay is imperfect. That's why I just think you got to get rid of it. I do. Yeah, not a great effort here, Rail fan. This is an 8-win team, and look, they're playing hard. It is something else. It's just Tim Miles calling timeout here. 14-point lead, 5 to go. They are playing soft. Yeah, officials will never be right. Same with replay. It's part of the game. Yeah, 100%. That's human error. So let's just get rid of it. Roman says Boise's done for. San Jose State is on fire. What else do we got in here? Nick thinks UNLV is going to upset Utah State tomorrow. We'll see. I have my doubts, but Boise needs a complete reset, players and coaches. Be interested to see who comes back on this roster. I don't know. What's the foul situation here? I don't know if that's Myers has 4. Moopa Daly has 4 off the bench. He always has 4. So they have Myers. Yeah, if both of those guys foul out, it's possible, but I think they're okay for now. San Jose State should be in the WAC. Yeah, well, I mean, they used to be in the WAC, and unfortunately tonight they're ruining the perfect chalky quarterfinal tomorrow. But look, credit to them. Like again, they shouldn't feel sorry for playing well here. Okay, they're not. It's not their job to show up and play well if they're for Boise. All right, they're here to play a game too. And as a coach I used to coach against would say, as long as they tell us we're on a schedule, we're going to show up and play. And they showed up to play tonight. They don't care if they're 8-23. They're playing a game because it's on a schedule. They signed up to play. They're ballers, and they're out to win the game. They don't care if Boise's inching up towards the bubble, and Boise wants to play New Mexico tomorrow, and that's what the fans want to see. Andrews just did hit a big three, so it's down to 11 with 5 to go. They don't care. They're out here to play this game and win because they're competitors. It hasn't worked out for them this season, but sometimes you get a bad effort from your opponent. They got that when they beat Nevada a few weeks ago. They're getting it tonight for 35 minutes against Boise, okay? Garland for 3, miss, rebound Buchanan. So here's your stop, score, stop, score, stop. Buchanan on a drive lays it in, so it's down to 9. So here's a situation where Miles just used a timeout, and he's only got 1 left, so we can't really call one. So if Boise gets a stop and a score here, and it's down to 7, you really need that timeout. That was probably a premature timeout up by 14 with 5 to go. You do have the under 4 media timeout pending. Huge bucket right there by Myers on a drive, puts the Spartans up by 11. We're under 4. The Broncos got to have a little urgency here. They have to have a little urgency. They have to start playing faster. Andrews kick out Buchanan for 3, missed it. Rebound for the Spartans, and that one hurts because now they're going to bleed some clock here. You see him walking it up. Leon's really got to dig something up here in this under 4. It's difficult to trap and cause turnovers at this level because the guards are too good. That's why you very seldom until the end of games when teams are 100% selling out, you very rarely see full court pressure, right? That's something reserved for the high school levels and lower levels of college. Garland misses a step back, keen rebound, and just hasn't been Boise's night when that happens. Kind of bumps into a teammate, falls, travel, stays with the Spartans. Media timeout with 3:20 to go, and now they're going to be able to bleed another 20 plus off the clock. So it's not looking good here if you're a Boise fan, unfortunately. But look, it's difficult to press and cause turnovers because the guards at this level are so good. It doesn't matter if you play for a team that's 8-23. Kobe Garland can still handle the basketball. Tim Miles is a very good basketball coach. He knows exactly what he's doing, right? He's got his guys set for handling the pressure, all right? And so it's not going to be easy for Boise to chip away here and get possessions back, all right? Ugly game from both teams. Fresno seems like a bad matchup. Yeah, could be. They certainly played. They beat them at home. They took them to the wire in Fort Collins and really only lost the game because Collins left out with injury. Well, Devin, what they have longer, bigger, stronger athletes, really. Jones is a machine inside. He needs to put on some upper body weight. Okay. He gets pushed around a little bit, but there is nobody in the conference that jumps as well as he does. He has incredible timing. He gets off his feet well. He's long. He's rangy. He presents problems inside for most players that he plays against. Right. And do you want, he can do it, but do you want you want Templin jacking up 7 threes and pulling him away from the basket? I guess that's what you do because then it enables Falslev and Collins, et cetera, to drive the hoop because otherwise Jones is in there as a menace to block shots or at the very least alter the shots. Okay. So it's just sometimes it's an athletic thing. Like Utah State, I don't want to say all the time, but more often than not, they will struggle against plus athletes, okay, oftentimes, even if they're not the most disciplined like UNLVs aren't. So, I don't know. I think you'll get the best effort from the Aggies tomorrow. Now, I do want to Booth with an empty 18. Well, I will say, Chase, that he finished, though, inside. He was the recipient of several, easy buckets on dunks, on feeds from Munez or whoever it was, but he at least finished. What did he shoot? He shot 6 for 12. I thought, but he missed both of his threes. I thought he finished okay inside. With San Jose beating Boise, be the biggest upset in tournament history. I'd have to go back and look it up. By the point spread, maybe. You're talking 15-point underdog here. Yeah, Paige, I think at this point, I don't think they can come back and win at this point. It does look like they are toast. I will agree with you there. We're down to 3 minutes and Fielder short on a 3. Keene keeps it alive. I mean, you just have to just jack threes here. Buchanan, short, rebound Spartans, foul. I mean, this one's about in the books. Bad loss for Rice. What is he doing with his defense? You know, this is one of those where does he not have his guys prepared? Andrews was definitely a no-show, John. Did he not have his guys prepared? Did his guys not allow them to be prepared, right? Who's it on? I mean, you can assign the blame a lot of different ways. You know, clearly it falls on the head coach, okay? But the players have to take responsibility too. You have senior guys, Andrews, Buchanan, veteran guys, Meadow, Carmichael, Fielder, like they know what's at stake here, okay? Like I know you just beat this team by 100 a few weeks ago, but it's 0-0 when you start this game. Like you should not need like to get motivated to play in the tournament, right? You have a matchup coming up tomorrow night against New Mexico, okay? And you can't be bothered to like show up and bring your A game. Now, let's give the Spartans credit. Let's not devalue what they've done here. 11-point game, 2:30 to go. Here comes some full court pressure, but it's broken with ease, and now they're just going to burn some clock here. So this is where how do we beat the Spartans by 31-15 and now lose here? Paige, that is an excellent question. And there it is again. You know, if this close to a steal and this close to a steal, now they end up missing the shot anyway, but that could have been a run out for a layup that cut it to 9. And the ball just hasn't bounced Boise's way tonight, right? You know, obviously, if we play this game 10 times, Boise probably wins 9. But that's unfortunately, if you're a Boise fan tonight. But this is what makes college basketball great. Conference tournaments, NCAA tournament is a one-shot deal. We don't play best of 7s here, and the best team always wins those series, right? It's a one-shot deal, and you got to bring it every night because if your opponent brings it more than you're in trouble. All right. It's tough to say that the Spartans just won this game shooting out their rear end. They didn't. They're 9 for 23 from behind the arc. That's 39%. I mean, it's okay, but it's not super. The problem lies in the fact that Boise is 4 for 20 from 3. Like, that's not going to win you many games. Okay. It's just not. Being a Boise fan is brutal. Don't get your hopes up. Yeah, Matthew, upset of the season. Yeah, it is because, right? I mean, Fresno never really got that signature win, against a top 5 team. San Jose, I guess, against Nevada, that was at home. And so, most people would put Boise a little bit ahead of Nevada. So this certainly trumps that. Boise should benefit from increased TV. They'll get a little bit of increased TV money. I don't know what that's going to do, but Grant, I don't think you hate Boise State. I think you're angry at them in the moment here. They did get a free throw from Buchanan and a stop, and now they have the ball with 1:30 to go, down 10. So last chance to dance here, as Gus Johnson once said. Fielder, is that an and one? No, oh man, that would have been big right there. It looks like they called it on the floor as he laid it in before the foul was called. Okay, so 1:26 to go. They're going to need both of these free throws. They're going to need we've reached a stage now where they're going to need some help from the Spartans. The Spartans are going to have to collapse. They're going to have to miss some free throws. They're going to have to turn the ball over. They're going to have to pull what UNLV did against Fresno 6 weeks ago, okay? Fielder misses the first free throw. That certainly does not help. Sick. March Madness is the peak of sports, and you're already done with it. You've been wasting your time. I mean, I hate that feeling for you as a fan. I do. And that's part of the reason why I gave up my fandom largely. Fielder misses both. So that kind of symbolizes what you've gotten out of Boise tonight. Steve, you're at the game. Boise fans were saying how happy they were with their half of the bracket. Karma. Yeah, you know what? What do they say, Steve? Careful what you wish for, right? Careful what you wish for. Because it's never as easy as it seems. And we're down to a minute here. Yeah, this season's been miserable. Oliver says, do you think Leon I don't think they're going to fire Leon. I don't. I know very awful bookends. And I don't know. Somebody may correct me here. We have a few minutes left because, again, I'm going to go for 5 minutes after the game ends. That's it. Maybe 6 or 7 tops, because BJ and Nathan are going to get on here, obviously, and have plenty to talk about with the Boise fans. So stick around and join if you want more talk about this with Nathan and BJ on BJ's postgame show, because he might go for 2 hours at this rate if you guys are in there with Boise fans are in there with comments, okay? I do need to get to bed. It's 1:30 here, although I probably won't sleep for a while. But anyway, I got it. Let BJ get on here and let his stuff get going. But, look, are they wearing – I remember the warm-ups that they wore as a staff in that opening game were hideous, with the huge patch on the chest. Is this the same one they wore in that game? The Broncos symbol or something is really big on the upper chest. I don't think it's aesthetically pleasing. I don't like that look at all. I mean, that's not really has anything to do with the game, but you look good, you feel good, you play good. And I don't think they look very good on the bench there with those oversized logos on their blazers, but maybe I'm just nitpicking at this point. Yeah, Nicholas, a lot of people did pick Boise to win. I did too. I didn't know if I picked them to win. I thought they would make the final. I thought they had a very good chance to make the final, and it shows you what I know. I watch every game, and I can't even do that. I will say, JD, yes, not the best offensive schemes. Fielder misses we got a missed layup. 40 seconds to go. Meadow, drive, layup, timeout, Leon, 80-70 with 40 seconds left. I'm not sure what Leon has in the bag here for a 10-point play in big trouble. So Grant thinks that Leon might, quote-unquote, retire after the season. I still think it's less than 50-50. Ice, I don't even know if they will be on the NIT radar. It's possible, but I don't know. Yeah, BJ is not – he's going to be disappointed. He certainly did not plan to go and cover the conference tournament for Boise to play one game and lose to San Jose State. There's no doubt about it. Yes, Paige, no plays. They don't have great offense. That leaves stuff to be desired. A lot of iso ball, Oliver. You are correct. And yes, Andrews did not give you a very good return on your investment. Your ROI was not super on Mr. Andrews, unfortunately. Okay. Yeah, Cinderella is part of the tournament, except when you're the team that gets beat in that role. Here comes some pressure, some really hectic pressure to try and cause a turnover. Doesn't work. We get a foul with 33 to go. Any points at this point for San Jose State are pretty much going to lock this up. New Mexico has to be feeling really good now. I mean, you'd be foolish to just say, well, they're going to roll San Jose State because look at what the Spartans did here. But, we'd all be stunned if they will beat New Mexico tomorrow. It's odd because Boise's been great on the glass all year. They are winning the battle of the board tonight, 39-31, but, it hasn't made a difference. I'm not going to get out there for the stuff, Devin, unfortunately. Collins is a junior. Wait, you're telling me that can't be right, Richard? There's no way Collins has more eligibility. Are you sure that's accurate? He's been all over the place and have had issues, and maybe so with all the eligibility stuff. I did not know that. I thought he was gone. Leon needs to stop putting his time and effort into. Yeah, Paige, I will agree with that. I agree. Paige, that's an excellent comment. I was going to say something about that when they showed him complaining earlier. Too much energy devoted to that. You're 100% right. Okay. There's a time to do it. He does it too much. And when your team's getting their arse kicked, that should not be your focus. Okay. So I totally agree with that. Not a big fan of it. But look, he's been maybe not to the extent that all Boise fans want, but he's had success there doing it his way. They did just hit a three. Is that Fielder? They're out of timeout. He has a timeout left. I'm not sure why he's not using it there. They have it to 8 with 20 seconds. Again, we're talking like an absolute miracle here. You don't have time to waste. You have to foul. So 19 seconds left. You're going to need a miss and a made three here and then another miracle. Yeah, exactly, Matthew. I wanted to see Collins tonight. It's disappointing. Yeah, I don't know what Leon's going to say after the game tonight, Kyle. I'm not sure what he's going to say. Bad hotel food, says Pizza. I don't think so. Look, they just got outplayed tonight. They weren't ready to go from the start. The Spartans were. They played 40 minutes, and then they made shots, a few shots, and that's all it takes sometimes. They made some tough shots in the paint. Your runners, your floaters, your two-pointers. They made 21 two-pointers tonight. I mean, that shouldn't happen against a Leon Rice defense, if you're saying, no offense. So 1 out of 2, 82-73. Andrews, 19, dribbles it up. Going to need a 3 like pronto. And actually like yesterday, Carmichael misses. Andrews on a follow, gets fouled. But this game's over. There's 10 seconds left. They're down 9. Andrews shooting 2. Yeah, 100% Mile High. Boise was feeling themselves. Sometimes, look, these are young. They're not kids. And I hate to see they're even college students because they're really semi-pro, right? But they're not adults. They're young adults. They expected to just show up and win the game. As somebody said earlier, they won by 30 and 15 against this team the 2 times they played them. So what makes you think this is going to be any different, right? Super disappointing. Can they beat New Mexico? I would not count on that, all right? I mean, what do we see here? Nothing should surprise us. But they are probably not going to have it in the tank tomorrow. So let's see how we dribble it out here. Couple things that I did not get to mention. As I said at the top, I did not anticipate this happening. Miles has to use his last timeout, so this will give me another minute here with 9 seconds left. Did not anticipate this. I thought we'd see a Boise double-figure lead, and I'd be able to talk about some other stuff because there were, some other things going on. News with Calhoun, news with Olin. There's some stuff out there about different jobs, and so we'll see how that impacts those teams and their play tomorrow and moving forward the rest of the weekend, right? Calhoun rumors with Kansas State, Olin rumors with Arizona State. Who knows what to even believe anymore when you look at like social media, because half the people in there are just nitwits just doing nonsense for engagement. So who even knows what to believe? But I wouldn't be shocked if there's some truth to some of that stuff. And we'll see if the teams lose focus or not, right? Lobo fans remember super well the offer deal when he wasn't going to leave, and then he leaves for UCLA, and New Mexico loses as a 3 seed in the NCAA tournament. So that plays with players, if that happens. So keep an eye on that for news tomorrow. I didn't really get to break it down the way I wanted to, but all good. Absolutely, this opens the door in the bottom half there for San Diego State or Colorado State or New Mexico, 100%. Full credit to San Jose State here. It does rob us of a super set of 4 games tomorrow. Now, who knows? Maybe we'll get the Tim Miles effect tomorrow night again. The game has been over. Insulting performance. Yeah, not the best. Boise looked past them. That there's no doubt. Yep. Wasn't a loss against another D2 school. I mean, they bookended the season with just brutal losses. Okay. BJ will not be happy in the postgame, Mile High. You can bet that. The parity makes every game exciting. There we go. 84-74 is the final. San Jose State pulls an absolute shocker to close out the night. Really beyond disappointing if you're a Boise fan. Again, I'm going to get off in 3 minutes. San Jose State played 7 guys and we're in foul trouble in 1. Real Cannon Trader wants to get rid of Leon. I don't think it's going to happen. A lot of frustration here. So you guys, as Boise fans, do I think the Lobos need to win a tournament for an at-large? Well, if they win a tournament, they're in as an automatic bid. If they get to the final, they have a chance because the bubble's awful. So let's win tomorrow. Although I will say this also hurts New Mexico. This hurts New Mexico because they don't get a quad 1 win tomorrow now by beating Boise. They get a quad 3 win by beating San Jose State. So that doesn't help the cause. Doesn't help. I forgot about that angle. Who knows what that does? Okay. Boise's a lot of not positive comments here from Boise fans. So here's what I will say. Okay. Stick around. In about 5 minutes. BJ and Nathan will be live from the Thomas and Mack with their Boise postgame, Strictly Boise. I know I talked a lot about Boise on here because of what just took place, covered the earlier games in the first half of the show. So if you want to watch that, you can go back later on, maybe tomorrow, and watch all this. A lot of comments on here. Takeaways for tomorrow. I mean, look, I think Utah State gets by UNLV. I kind of said that at the top. I think Grand Canyon gets by Nevada. I think the CSU San Diego State game is going to go to the wire. I think that's open for whoever plays better is going to win that game. I don't see a clear favorite in that game. And obviously you have to favor New Mexico in the late game after this here. Nicholas, they usually do play them tough. Miles has a good game plan. They played him tough earlier this year. They beat him last year. I just don't think it'll happen here. I just don't think so. Yeah, the ROI hasn't been good all around. There's no doubt about it. I did not know that Collins was a junior. I can't believe he has another year. I thought he got in trouble like 7 years ago. Maybe a little extra juice from the Mountain West team's fields, maybe. I just think Boise was just flat tonight, crushing for the program, 100%. Do you guys who we hope would stay decided? Yeah, I don't know what to make of it. Look, BJ's going to have a lot of the talk here. Silver lining, at least we don't have to feel the disappointment of missing out on a tournament by a ranking system. Yeah, you guys don't deserve to be in right now. You don't deserve to be in. No silver lining. We don't allow it. Yeah, it's you're not going to get a new era though, real candidate, unless he decides to leave. I don't think it's it for Leon NC. I really don't. I mean, he's a proud guy. He's been around for a long time. He's built that program up. He's not going to want to go out like this. He's not. Calhoun also mentioned at ASU. I did not see that, Jerry, but thank you for that. He'll be mentioned at a lot of places. Yeah, Paige, you bookended it. Awful losses on both ends. You didn't do enough to get in this year. It is all there is to it, right? You just didn't. So it's unfortunate. Olin, I don't think he's an Albuquerque guy. I think everybody knows that, and you just have to accept that. Unfortunately, if you get another year out of him, that's great. It wouldn't be surprising if you don't. I hate to say it. Wichita Eagle reported that Calhoun's a front runner, and that will change the deal with Falslev, Josh, 100%. Yes. All right, I'm trying to scroll through these quickly. So listen, one more time, couple things here. Yeah, we'll see what BJ says. Stay tuned for BJ. I know you're all giving BJ a hard time. You got to, when I sign off of here in 2 minutes, give BJ a minute or two to start his show up. He and Nathan are live from Thomas and Mack. I'm sure I may even tune in for that, even though I got to get some sleep because I can't, or maybe I'll watch it tomorrow when I'm at school. That's what I'll do. That'll keep me awake. So I can't imagine what's going to be discussed on there. Massive disappointment if you're a Boise fan. Huge credit. We don't have a lot of San Jose State fans in here. That's why we're talking a lot about Boise. But good job, Tim Miles. Massive credit for them. Okay. Not super tonight from Boise. So maybe you'll play in the NIT. I don't know. Not that you guys want that anymore, but that's what it is. Appreciate you being here, Fields. Appreciate all of you guys being here. Let me give Sun Cruiser one more shout out. If you haven't done so, I know there's probably a handful of episodes left for the season, but go down to the bottom like you see it scrolling across right now and subscribe at Mountain West BNN, at Mountain West BNN. Appreciate you guys being here. Tomorrow, don't forget, I will do a double header tomorrow, right? I will do one in between sessions, and I will do one right after the San Jose State New Mexico game goes final. All right, because we will have no Boise game, and BJ does not need to do his late show, unfortunately, for Boise fans. So give it a couple minutes when I log off, log back on for BJ's show live from the Thomas and Mack. I'm sure that will be really interesting. You guys can pepper BJ with all your comments, whatever you want for probably the next 2 hours. All right. Thanks for being here so much. Enjoy the 4 games tomorrow. Come back in the afternoon session on another night in the Mountain West. Enjoy the games in the meantime. Thanks for being here. See you again next time. Good night.
Get ready for the time of your life at Circa Resort and Casino, Las Vegas's newest destination for fun, featuring the world's biggest poolside tailgate party with 3 levels of action, 6 pools, and a 143-foot screen. The fun is always on deck with all the games all year long. Stadium Swim, located in downtown Las Vegas on Fremont Street. Book the time of your life today at CircaLasVegas.com.